Hello, this is Modern Alternate History, and today we are talking about what if World War I had never happened and how it would affect the world. World War I was one of, if not the most influential conflicts in modern history. With death counts in the tens of millions, it was one of the most devastating wars in human history, and it was followed up by a terrible flu. This left a sizable dent in populations that can even be felt today. This war was not a gentleman's game. This was not an adventure. This was a brutal war that sent millions, yes, millions of soldiers to their graves for a few kilometers. And it was not better when you were not in the no man's land, as you were in dirty trenches where diseases and mice were commonplace. The war that was supposed to last until Christmas became a 4-year slaughterfest. But you could say the after-war period was even more interesting, with young democracies springing up from all across Europe. In Russia, a socialist revolution happened which changed the course of Russia, or even the whole world, with the Cold War being a result of both world wars. In Italy and Germany, ultranationalists rose to power, giving way to a new ideology's rise to power. But what if all of that never happened? What if World War I had never happened, and how would that change the course of history? The butterfly effect would be hard to predict after maybe the 50s due to decolonialization never happening. So without further ado, let's dive in. Well, the change we make in this timeline is that Germany instead does not support Austria-Hungary and tries to calm the situation down by convincing Russia to not join any possible war in exchange for economic concessions or some other kind. I doubt that the Austrians would not invade due to the killing of the inheritor of the empire being a little bit of a big deal. This also helps, as Austria-Hungary was a mess of ethnicities, and it is far better for them to fight a war rather than just explode, which would have happened anyway. The war would quickly expand, with Italy and Romania joining Serbia in their war against Austria, and Bulgaria invade Serbia, thus joining the war on the side of the Austrians. The Austrian would probably manage to get some small gains and would probably cut off Serbia from the sea. The Serbian alliance would succeed in successfully pushing in the Romanian and Italian fronts and securing the land connection between Serbia and Romania. The Austrians managed to continue their offensive into Serbia, although their lines are already spread very thin due to the Italians and Romanians joining. The Bulgarians sucked in conquering Skopje, but not much else would happen in 1914. The Bulgarians have managed to push inward to Serbia and Romania, although they now have to worry about a whole new front, as the Ottomans have joined this war in hopes of regaining some of their lost territory. The Austrian Empire has started to crumble with revolts in Czechia and Krakow, but the most intense revolts were in Bosnia. Could these revolts kick in the rotten door of the Austrian Empire? The Habsburg domain has crumbled. Revolts all over the country cannot be silenced anymore. Austria is no more. The Ottomans and Serbs initiate a counterattack which sucks. The Third Balkan War has concluded. The war that could have redone the whole world is now just a regional conflict. The treaty includes Austria losing Istria, Tyrol, and Dalmatia to Italy. To Serbia they lose Srem and Bosnia. Romania gains most of Transylvania. The Russians establish a puppet regime in Galicia, and the Ottoman Empire gains territories from Bulgaria. Thus has concluded the empire of 400 years. Now remains only a weak confederation of Austria, Czechia, and Croatia. Now you may be thinking, why isn't Austria annexed by Germany, or why keep a confederation? Well, mostly the balance of power to ensure that Germany or Russia do not try to expand to the Balkans anymore. The following map shows what the Balkan influences look like. The Italians, of course, only have their own territories, although they have started to approach Russia for an alliance. There is the Belgrade Pact, which is basically all the Balkan nation except Greece, and then there is the Confederation of Danubia, a set of independent states with a single head of state, monetary polity, and armory, and, well, that's about it. The Confederation features Austria, Croatia, Hungary, and Bohemia, aka Czechia. The Russians would probably let the Poles receive their independence and unite them with Galicia sometime in the 1920s. There would also be a Franco-German war, probably with France as the aggressor. The main reason France is the aggressor is so the Russians to not join the war. The Germans managed to push pretty deep into France before the war turns into trench warfare. although the war has started slowing, the Germans manage a breakthrough near Burundi, thus advancing inward to France. The French government attempts a last-ditch effort to win the war by initiating a major offensive. This, however, causes the soldiers to riot and attempt to overthrow the government. It seems that history continues to repeat itself, with France attacking Germany, losing, and then attempting a revolution. 1870 and 1930. The years of sorrow for France. The new republic would be replaced by a Bourbon monarchy, with the Action Française taking power. The Germans have reached Paris, and the new Bourbon government signs peace, declaring that leftists and Republicans are the faults of all French problems, thus creating the story of the socialist betrayal. The treaty imposed on France was extremely harsh, with France losing its significant resource-rich regions such as Burgundy and Nancy. They also lost Brittany, which became an independent republic, and to Italy they had to give back old territories such as Savoy. This ensures that France has been crippled and cannot become revanchist. The final war that would break out in this timeline that I can accurately predict is the final Russo-Turkish War. This war would be started by something stupid, probably. The Greek would also join due to them wanting to realize the Megali idea. The Russians would invade through the Caucasus, succeeding in conquering a lot of eastern territory. In Samsun, the Republic of Pontus was declared. The republic was declared by the Greek minority living there. The Greeks would succeed in pushing the Ottomans in Thrace, and they also succeeded in organizing a naval invasion to Bursa, where the Greek minority also rebelled. The Ottoman Empire has entered its final years, with the Russian and Greek offensives continuing in their rush to capture as much territory as possible. The Italians have joined this war in hopes of gaining influence in Anatolia. You might be wondering, why does Italy have Tunisia? The Italians gained it from the French in the peace treaty, but I unfortunately had forgot to add it in. In Baghdad, Damascus, and Jerusalem, revolts have broke out, with the Arabs wanting to seize the opportunity and declare their independence. They gain a lot of support from the French and British, who intend to subjugate them after the war. The Kurds have also risen up with the help of the Russians and have secured their new state. The Ottomans have lost. The 300-year decline has ended. Only central Anatolia is in the hands of their rightful rulers. The Ottoman Empire is no more. The Russian armies are approaching Ankara, and there are already battles in Istanbul. It is over. The treaty includes the Ottomans losing eastern territories to Russia, to Greece eastern Thrace, and the western coast of the Aegean Sea. To the Italians, they have to give up the coastal territories near Rhodes. The Arabian territories are given independence. The Kurds and the Pontic Greeks get their own states, although they are heavily reliant on Russia. Constantinople becomes an international zone, mostly due to the Brits not wanting the Russians to control the straits. Here is a quick map of the alliances of Europe. There is one mistake here, which is France owning Tunisia when it is supposed to be controlled by the Italians. The Ottomans, after a brief civil war, survive as the Russians would not allow the Kemalists to come to power. Also, Constantinople should be neutral. Thanks for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe.